Alright YouTube, so today's video we're actually making this as a definitive review for the Canon R6 Mark III. Who is this camera for and should you be buying one? So without further ado, let's get right into the R6 Mark III, right? Great camera. It's got a lot of scrutiny lately. And it's obviously being compared to a lot of things because it's a camera that Canon built and put out there at the price point that they did, that most brands are kind of envy of it, right, on what you're getting dollar for dollar. So let's get right into who is this camera for and who it's not for in the next like 3 minutes first. Right, so then you can decide how you want to watch the rest of the video, right? I'll start from the top of the ones where the camera could be iffy, right? If you buy it for this type of photography or things like that. If you're looking to buy the Canon R6 Mark III and you are a very avid, meaning someone that is shooting at a professional level, sports and wildlife. Again, the keyword is professional, and I'll get to that in a second. You have better options, is all I'll say. Same thing with the Sony a7 IV. A lot of people will try to mold it into that. That's not what the camera is designed to do. Yes, it can do it, but it's not really designed for that. First of all, it's a hybrid camera. A lot of times we used to think it's a photo first, video second, this, that. The lines are really blurred today, which is what, right? Based on the offering that is in this R6 Mark III, I would probably say it's a true hybrid where it's really 50-50, right? And we'll talk about the competition towards the end. Why I feel like, their offering is not really a true 50-50 hybrid. So having said that, if you're a sports and wildlife type of person and you're shooting very fast action, there are other options, and let me tell you why. So I took it out to canonusa. We shot this very lens with it. This is the 200-400. The lens new was about $12,000. I got a good deal on one. I didn't pay $12,000, but it's here. It's truly a legendary lens. Incredible. It's got a built-in teleconverter from Canon. Did it do well? Yeah, it did. But when you start panning, like if I'm shooting an eagle that is actually literally doing this and then I'm going straight down like this and I start to jerk it like this, yeah, you're going to, and you're taking the shots at the same time, you're going to see some jelloing going on. And again, this is not a slouch of a sensor. It's at around 13 to 14 milliseconds. It's still pretty damn fast. It's as fast as the Sony a7 IV with a partially stacked sensor. And you're going to have the same issue on that, guaranteed. It's just a matter of time. It's not as fast as like a R5 Mark II, Z9, A1, all those kind of things, which are actually truly real stack sensors, blazing fast, like under 6 seconds and, faster. So you will have that. That puts you in a different category now. Now, who is this camera really for? Sony put a lot of things into the a7 IV, sort of going after what Canon did with the R6 Mark III. They're all playing off each other. At the end of the day, they're all within, 5% of each other. One's better at this, one's worse at that, whatever. Pick your own poison, whichever one you like. It doesn't really matter. Your skill is going to matter more than the body that you pick, right? Or the brand that you pick at this point. This is my opinion. The R6 Mark III, by far, would be one of the most intense buy, right, that has come by in the market, in the mirrorless marketplace for event and wedding photographers. If you're doing event, weddings, you're doing fashion runway, that kind of thing, this camera is something that should be in your bag. It truly is freaking incredible. And yes, it can shoot open gate. If you're shooting a wedding, you don't have time to be running multiple cameras or having 10 people. Maybe you do, if your budgets and your production allows it. But if you want a true hybrid, this camera will allow you to be able to shoot open gate video. Within a second, flip right into photos, take them. No problem. You can shoot raw video internally. You can't do that on the Sony. You'd have to walk around with an external monitor or something. And even with the external monitor, you can't record raw on the A7 V. That's why I meant the competition. It's not really competition, right? The Nikon Z6 III is more a competition for the Canon R6 III. It's too many letters, too many, naming conventions to remember. And let me tell you why. The 32 megapixels is a perfect companion for like a 5D Mark IV. If you're shooting weddings with a 5D Mark IV, 5D Mark III, something like that, you're going to do extremely well by having an R6 Mark III right there present. No loss in resolution. You have incredible speed. You have outstanding autofocus. You have the ability to be able to track people's eyeballs. All of that stuff is there. It could be incredible. It has a mechanical shutter that can shoot up to 12 frames per second. It's faster than most of its competition at around 10. The other thing is it's got a full hot shoe, so you can attach flash units and all kinds of different things, essential for event and wedding type work. The thing that I have a problem with the R6 Mark III. Now, listen carefully, because a lot of people feel like, oh, you never beat up Canon, you always say something when Sony does something. So listen really carefully, and after that, don't ever make this comment on my channel again. Because I hold Canon accountable just like I do Sony, just like I do something else like a Nikon. It doesn't matter to me what the brand is. I'm not married to them. They don't put food on my table. I'm going to tell them what I truly think, uncut, unfiltered. They don't like it, tough. If they like it, great. They want to give it to fanboys, fangirls that are not going to question them so they can give them the doom buggy rides. They don't want people that are really going to challenge their product so they can make a better one. They don't want that. They want to give you what they want to give you. Number one, the reason why I said it would not be the best choice of tool as a tool for sports and wildlife earlier was the EVF. It's an incredible EVF. It can do 120 frames per second. It can go into smooth mode. It can do all of that. That's great. But it does not have, for example, like the R5 Mark III. Good one. R5 Mark II. Has a setting for blackout free because the sensor is blazing fast. Now, this is something that's also not available in R7. If you're shooting with the mechanical shutter at 12 frames per second, you'll be fine. But most people that are going to buy these cameras today, they don't want to put wear on their shutter, so they shoot electronic. Right? That's the argument. Half of your rolling shutter, jelloing, all these problems go away when you shoot with a mechanical shutter. So just shoot it. That's what it's for. Most of the shutters in these new cameras go up to 500,000 actuations. If you're shooting more than 500,000 actuations on a mechanical shutter, you're pretty serious, right? I mean, you're big timer. But when you're holding things down at 40 frames per second on electronic, it doesn't take long to get to 500,000 actuations, and your camera still looks brand new. But then you're frustrated because it's boring and you have 500,000 images to go through. Not having the blackout free option on the EVF, for me, it's a problem when I shoot electronic shutter. Because sometimes I don't want to shoot 12. I want to be able to shoot, hey, 20 to 30. I want to make sure I get that one moment that I really want. Because I know the camera can do it. But obviously the R6 Mark III can do 40. Right? Even worse, goes faster than most. So sometimes when you're doing the burst, you will see a slight jitter happen. To me, that's very bothersome. That's why I love the DSLR experience, because it's not like that at all, right? I mean, it just, you can still continue to see, even though the mirror is going up and down, you can still see the subject. On the R5 II and the R1, it's a mute point. It's not a problem. On the Sony A1, A1 II, those kind of things, you're not going to have a problem. The A9s, you don't have that problem. When the R6 III, you will have that problem. I think the A7 V has a blackout-free version of the screen. Maybe that won't be a problem. Maybe that's a win for Sony. But on the R6 III, it doesn't exist. But when it comes to wedding and event photography, R6 III truly is the camera that you should get. Incredible sensor, incredible tech, easy to use, and it's not super big. So, great camera, great offering. You can, pair it with, battery grips, all kinds of different things that you can buy for it. So that's my definitive review of this thing, because I'm not going to sit here and bore you with 5,000 images and or 20,000 charts. I'm telling you like it is. For me, since I have the R5 Mark II, the R6 Mark III is going to be very hard to justify alongside with it. Unless I need a backup, but I don't need a backup because I have an R7 and I have so many of these. I don't need it. But if you only have one camera, the R6 Mark III, if I didn't have the R5 Mark II, would be one of the best freaking buys of 2025, period, right? It is one of the, it's probably going to even win Camera of the Year, Camera of the Year award, most likely. Because of open gate, this, that, all that stuff that they're giving you for $28.99 or $27.99, whatever it is, the price. So for me, it's really an incredible machine, but do I need to keep it? If I didn't have this guy, yeah, I probably would. But when we were at Canonusa, after about 20-30 minutes, I flipped over to the R5 II and never went back to picking up the R6 III. Now, does that make the R6 III a bad camera? No. But for very specific things and type of photography that you're doing, this is why I keep saying, define what you're going to do with it first, and then figure out if it's the right tool for the job. If you're a wedding, event photographer, fashion, portraits, all kinds of things, the R6 III is an incredible, incredible machine. But if you're truly big time into sports and wildlife, fine. I would look at other options like the R5 II, Z9, Z8. Sony has, a few, A1, A1 II, that kind of thing. A9 III. You have many options. Even the A9 II is an incredible camera. It's fully stacked. So pick what makes sense for you and buy that. For me, it makes most sense to hang on to the R5 II, keep the R7 for now, and then I'll take a look at what they do with the R7 Mark II, and we'll go from there. So I do have some incredible content planned and coming up. Revolves a lot around DSLRs too. So if you're here on the channel for that, stick around. So with that, Leave your comments below. If you ordered one, you're going to keep it, you like it, don't like it, whatever. Just be civil in the comments. If you go monkers, you probably will get blocked. So with that, like, subscribe, be nice to each other. Go out there, create your magic, and I will talk to you in the next video. Thank you.